Let's get started in child's pose. So bring your big toes together to touch. Knees mat width apart. Sink your hips back towards your heels and bring your forehead either to the mat or stacked fists. Then take a few deep inhales and deep exhales here, allowing your hips and your lower back to release and relax. Shoulders melt away from your ears, face relaxes as well. Two more breaths here. Then on your next inhale, come forward to your hands and your knees. Exhale, push back into down dog. Pedal your feet here to start. And then pull both heels towards the mat, chest towards your thighs. Really allow your hamstrings to lengthen in this position. Nod your head yes a few times. Shake no. And then on your next inhale, lift your right leg, bend your knee, open your hip. So as you open, you're also lifting. Then on your next exhale, pull your right leg forward into low lunge. Then drop your back knee. We're going to stretch out our left hip flexor here. So you're welcome to stay down like this. Otherwise, belly button to your spine. Slowly come up. Arms out to a T will help you balance. Reaching back will make the stretch more intense. You want to drive your left hip bone forward, because we want our hips to be as square to the front as possible with this one. You're going to notice that gives you a better and bigger stretch as well. Now on your next exhale, twist to the right. You can do an open arm twist. Otherwise, left hand to the outside of your right knee, right arm into a half bind. Another option is to hook your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. Take some deep breaths here. Then belly button to your spine, come back to center. Bring your hands on either side of your foot. If you need blocks and you have them, feel free to utilize them here. Otherwise, fingertips or palms to the floor, and then push yourself back so you're straightening your front leg, toes towards your face, really lengthening out through your heel. As you can probably feel, this is an awesome one for the back of your leg. Now, as you're doing this, shoulders stay away from your ears, neck in alignment with the rest of your spine, belly button zipping. One more breath, make the most of it. Then re-lunge. Before we move forward, I just want to mention, if you need a little extra padding for your back knee, just add a blanket or a towel or a pillow under there, and that's going to add a little extra comfort. Now from here, we're going to do runner's lunge. So turn your right toes out to the corner of your mat. Bring both hands to the inside of your right leg and start to sink down. If your forearms are available for you to plant onto the ground, do that. If not, you can stay up on your fists or your palms. So with all of these, as you can probably feel, they're not the most comfortable yoga exercises. And in fact, they're intended to be uncomfortable. So in other words, we're trying to really stretch out some places that have a tendency to be extremely tight. So you're not going for comfort on the mat, you're going for a little bit of discomfort on the mat so you can be more comfortable off the mat. So in other words, if you are feeling uncomfortable with these, you're doing them right. One final breath. Belly button to your spine, gently make your way up. Turn your toes, your front toes back so they're pointing towards the top of your mat. We've got one more thing to do here on this side, and it's called flossing. So hands can stay down or you can come up. And now you're just going to turn your back heel almost like a windshield wiper. So it's kind of an awkward movement. It's going forward or side to side, I should say. And what we're trying to do with that side to side heel movement is what's called flossing in our hip flexor. So it's a little bit awkward at first, a little abstract, but you should start to feel some intense opening again in your hip flexor, heels going side to side. One more breath here. Whew, awesome job. Hands on the inside of your right leg. Swing your leg around. Push back into downward facing dog. Very nice. Pedal your feet. Same thing on the other side. So lift your left heel. Bend your knee, open and lift your hip. Then on your next exhale, pull your left knee forward to low lunge. Drop your back knee nice and slow. And then stay down like this or come on up. Get your hip flexor stretch. The further apart your knee and your foot are, so in other words, the longer your stance with your knee and your foot, the more intensity you'll feel with this hip flexor stretch. So feel free to adjust that as you need to. Arms out to a T to help you balance, reaching back for a bigger stretch. And then on your next exhale, twist if you want. This time we twist to the left. Right hand to the outside of your knee if you'd like. Left arm in a half bind. Otherwise, right elbow to the outside of your knee. Deep breaths. If you're feeling uncomfortable but not in pain, then you're doing it perfectly. Strong core, come back to center. Plant your hands either on the mat or yoga blocks, and then push back into your hamstring stretch. Toes towards your face, lengthen out through your heel. And now remember with this one, we're keeping our upper body strong. So again, shoulders to your hips, belly button to your spine, neck nice and long. One more deep breath here. Lengthen the back of your leg. Nice. Now re-lunge. Turn your right toes out, your left toes out to the corner of your mat. Arms on the inside of your leg. Start to sink down into runner's lunge. And if you're able to establish a forehead connection either with a block, your hands, or the mat, I would suggest that in runner's lunge. One thing you really want to make sure is happening is that you have a nice base for your knee. So in other words, you don't want your foot way back and your knee jutting forward. Instead, you want your knee right over your ankle so your foot is far enough forward. But it's okay for your knee to go out to the side. That's what we want with this one. And as you're sinking down in runner's lunge, you want to keep yourself protected. So pull your belly button up as you sink down and shoulders to your hips. Everything else can relax and hang heavy. One final breath. Slowly and gently make your way up. Turn your left toes to the top of your mat again. Hands on either side of your leg. And we're going to do our flossing. So with your hands down or up, that's up to you, you're going to turn your heel side to side, which is going to help you get into all the nooks and crannies in your right hip flexor. So once again, this can be a little abstract and a little awkward at first. The movement is pretty subtle. However, as you can probably feel, once you get the hang of it, although it's a subtle movement, it really does create some intensity with the stretching in your right hip flexor. One more breath doing this. Nice. Hands on the inside of your left leg. Swing around. Find downward facing dog. Awesome. Whew. Take a big inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. And then from here, pull your right knee forward to your right wrist. Heel in front of your left thigh. We're going to move into half pigeon. So slide your left leg back. And then fold forward over your bent knee. Establish a forehead connection with something if possible. And then rock your hips side to side. Notice where you're getting the biggest pull. Stay there. And then bring your attention to your fluid inhales, fluid exhales. Two more breaths here. On your next inhale, gently push yourself up. Tuck your back toes under. Exhale, push back. Downward facing dog. Very nice. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Then pull your left knee forward. Heel in front of your right thigh. Slide your right leg back. Exhale, fold over your bent knee. Relax your face. You may even want to put a little smile on your face. We don't have to make this quite so serious. Two more breaths here. Inhale, push yourself up. Very nice. Exhale, push back. One last round of downward facing dog. So make the most of it. Then we're going to finish up in child's pose. So drop to your knees, big toes together to touch, knees mat width apart. Sink your hips back towards your heels, forehead to the mat. And we're going to add a little side stretch to child's pose this time around. So bring your upper body over to the right. Try to bring your left hand as close to your right arm or right hand as possible. Lengthen your left side body, taking some deep breaths, expanding your rib cage. Belly button to your spine. Inhale, come back to center. And then exhale, bring your upper body over to the left. Right hand towards your left hand. Deep breaths. Inhale back to center. Nice. Take two more inhales and exhales here. And then once you've finished those two breaths, gently roll yourself up.